2017 has been quite the year for Nintendo. After a lackluster 2016, they came into this year guns blazing with the Nintendo Switch and its all-star lineup of games. So much to do, so much to play. I think we'll all look back on 2017 fondly. And now, with the new year coming upon us, it's time to crown the Game of the Year. No, you came out too late. You have to wait until next year. Get out of here. Jeez, the nerve of some of these games. In all honesty, Game of the Year could end up being a battle between the two Nintendo greats, Zelda and Mario. Of course, we have the lovely Game Awards in a few days, which completely objectively decides this year's winner. And I'm sure it'll be a tight race between the nominations. However, I'm just going to focus on Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey because of all the games nominated, those are the only two I've played all the way. What can I say? I'm a fanboy. Let's take a look at what qualifies these two games as modern masterpieces in order to determine who will win Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I'll also throw in some negative aspects of both, however minor they may be. I'm going to avoid any major spoilers, but if you haven't played through these games, there may be some minor spoilers. Please do yourself a favor and experience it for yourself before watching. With that, let's open our eyes with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's focus on exploration in an open-world environment is so innovative, they had to create a new term for it. Open air. Okay, maybe that's just Nintendo being Nintendo, but I think director Hidemaru Fujibayashi and his team didn't go into this game thinking it would be Zelda's answer to Skyrim or other open-world games. They envisioned it as a reimagining of the series, as well as a return to its roots. Their term open air is proof of that, and they delivered a world that not only felt wonderfully fresh and new, but familiar, almost like playing a 3D remake of the first game. To be fair, a lot of these features feel inspired by other popular open-world games, although Nintendo probably wouldn't tell you up front that's the case. Towers, weapon breaking, crafting, cross-dressing, they're obviously borrowed concepts, but Zelda takes all these and adds that special Nintendo magic to create an incredibly enjoyable experience. But where Breath of the Wild truly shines is in its freedom and exploration. Running through Hyrule, climbing tall mountains, discovering ruined towns and strongholds, I have never felt so free in a game before. You see that mountain over there? I bet I can climb it. Wait, what's that giant thing in the sky? I'll track it down. Oh, wait. That weird glowing beacon at night. I bet there's something cool there. Oh yeah! It's so ridiculous how fun it is to run in any direction looking for secrets. The sense of wonderment and discovery stays with you the moment you leave the Cave of Resurrection. For me, the only time I felt it really died down was towards the end of the game, when I was trying to find the last few shrines or tracking down the remaining 300 or so Korok seeds. Freaking Korok seeds. But the 100 hours before that was pure enjoyment, so I'm not too upset. Naturally, fighting the forces of evil has always played a major role in Zelda titles, and Breath of the Wild is no exception. However, Breath of the Wild basically reinvents your typical Zelda combat, all the way down to the weapons you wield. Of course, reinventing doesn't automatically make for an amazing game, but Breath of the Wild does more than reinvent. It sets a new standard for Zelda games to build upon in the future. But what makes it so revolutionary? For starters, there's a little more strategy involved. It's more than just hacking and slashing. How you fight with a broadsword differs from a spear or a club, or you can pick off enemies from a safe distance. You also have to keep in mind the terrain and how your environment affects your weapons. Breakable weapons add an extra layer to the combat because you're forced to work with what weapon you happen to find. It encourages you to explore more and be creative in how you take down enemies. Speaking of enemies, I think Ganon finally figured out he can just create stronger henchmen because, holy Hylia, this game can be hard, especially in the beginning. Other 3D Zelda games had relatively easy lesser enemies but challenging bosses and mid-bosses. Breath of the Wild ups the ante and makes common enemies like bokoblins actually challenging to fight.
What are you talking about? This game is so easy, even a baby could play it. You see? Easy.
You hear that? Silence. It's in these moments that I feel immersed in Hyrule. I hear the rustling of the grass, the subtle blowing of the wind, the singing of the birds. I feel one with nature. so peaceful. Music, while absent at times, is one of the best sounding in the entire series. Much like the combat, it expounds on previous themes while adding new elements that make it stand out.
Oh, wait, turn it up. Hyrule Castle is my jam.
The composer also effectively contrasts both calm and epic themes with moments of silence that make the game that much more impactful. Of course, it's not for everyone. Some fans really miss having constant overall music, and I'll admit there were times I missed hearing Hyrule Field music in the background. That said, the sound and music direction for Breath of the Wild is meant to immerse the player in Hyrule's nature and the kingdom's destruction, and that's what the Sound of Silence does. Wait.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Visually speaking, Breath of the Wild is arguably the best looking to date, graphic and art style wise. I remember watching the first review for Zelda U way back in 2014 and thinking that it looked like a Studio Ghibli film, specifically Princess Mononoke. That is a fantastic Ashitaka cosplay by Link. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Very nice. Some of my favorite Zelda games hook me in with their story, no matter how light it may be. There's always at least one twist, like Sheik's identity, Minda's true form, or who the King of Red Lion really is. To me, Breath of the Wild lacked that shocker moment, aside from maybe what happened to the champions. Experiencing the story through memories wasn't a bad idea, but it lacked any sort of build-up or direction, as you could grab the memories in any order. It also prevented us from really getting to know the main characters. To be clear, I'm not saying the story is bad, not at all. In fact, there were a lot of moments I particularly enjoyed. I love the relationship between Link and Zelda, and how Zelda slowly learned to accept him. Actually, I think this Zelda may be one of my favorites yet. We see her grow from a frustrated princess to a brave heroine. Sure, the lines could have been written better, or the voice actors could have read their lines a little better, but for what it is and what story it tells, it's not bad. There's a lot more I could say about this tremendous game, but that's enough about Zelda. Let's do the Odyssey. 3D Mario games have always had a sense of exploration behind them, although contained in a hub world or in the levels. With Galaxy 1 and 2, Mario focused more on platforming challenges, setting aside any deep exploration. Soon Nintendo went into a funk of 2.5D platforming, almost clocking up the warp pipe on 3D Mario. Enter Super Mario Odyssey. Woohoo! Almost everything you loved about Super Mario 64 and Sunshine is back, front and center. Sandbox levels filled with secrets to find and moons to collect. The strikingly different worlds stand out from the next, allowing players to explore their unique landscapes and taking in their rich atmospheres. Each kingdom is like entering a new painting in Peach's castle or warping to a new area in Isle Delfino. However, Odyssey is more than just exploration. It's constant discovery while searching for moons. Some of the moons are cleverly hidden, encouraging you to know your surroundings and trying out all sorts of tricks. On top of that, flying across the world on the Odyssey is in itself a surprise. There's one moment in particular that had me question whether I was playing Mario or Skyrim. That's what makes Odyssey so amazing. Everything is an adventure, even for seasoned players.
You haven't played Mario until you've played this.
No Mario game is complete without platforming, and Super Mario Odyssey takes 3D platforming to the next level. No, not 4D, the obvious next level. Odyssey takes the best parts of previous 3D Marios and meshes them together while adding a few new mechanics. The end product is an entirely new and refreshing game. Every kingdom is a platforming playground for you to mess around in. I was always trying new ways to reach far off places while looking for moons, which helped me master the controls. Plus, some moons are locked behind platforming puzzles that start off easy, but towards the end offer a fair bit of challenge. Unfortunately, that harder difficulty doesn't come until after you beat the main game. That said, I never felt disappointed with any of the moons I found. Odyssey also brings in a new mechanic to the Mario world, capturing.
Oh, I get it. Oh, Nintendo, you're so hilarious.
With over 50 objects to capture, more platforming and exploration options are open to the player. It's fun to find new things to capture and play around with. My personal non-spoilery favorite being I Am Groot.
I am Onion.
Oh, Groot, you're so hilarious. Earlier, I mentioned how Breath of the Wild's atmospheric music was a perfect fit for the game. The same goes for Super Mario Odyssey's music. However, instead of atmosphere, Mario has more of a get up and dance feel to it. For example, my favorite track, Steam Gardens, is so groovin', I can hardly stop myself from singing along. And there's one particular part that just makes my heart leap in awe.
It's like totally gnarly, bro.
In my mind, this score will go down as one of the best soundtracks ever made. Moving on to visuals, everything in Odyssey's world is alive and vibrant. The environments are stunning, the new characters are creative, and the game is beautiful. NintenCity, Steam Gardens, Fossil Falls, it's all breathtaking. Plus, the same cast of Mario, Peach, and Bowser looks better than ever before. Mario himself has more personality and charm in his animations than he ever has before. But let's not forget the true star of the show. It's soft, it's jiggly, and it's completely exposed. It's Mario's nose. His nose alone sells how charming this new adventure is.
I mean, just look at those jiggle physics.
Eat your heart out, Camilla and Pyra.
Odyssey. Odyssey, yes, Odyssey.
Everybody and their toad will tell you that this is the same Mario story told a million times before, but with a new theme. Well, guess what? Those guys are completely and entirely right. Sorry, that doesn't mean I didn't have fun chasing after Bowser. In fact, I think this is the most fun I've had in a Mario story. There's even some urgency to saving Peach.
Bowser can't marry Peach? I'm supposed to marry her. Get your dapper butt over here, Bowser.
Because I was chasing Bowser across the planet, progressing from kingdom to kingdom made sense. In past games, it's been, oh no, he stole some fairies that I really care about, or better jump on all these paintings to find the princess. They're not bad plot devices, but in Odyssey, there's more motivation to progress, besides how amazingly fun the levels are. In the end, the story culminates to an epic finale you don't see in other Mario games, besides maybe Galaxy. I won't go into spoilers, but what an ending! The wedding of the century!
The Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2016 is...
It's hard to compare two modern masterpieces from different genres of gaming. While they accomplish great achievements, each game appeals to a different audience. I mentioned in a previous video how I thought the first Xenoblade Chronicles game was a masterpiece, but not everyone agrees. The same goes for Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, and that's okay. There will always be those who prefer Zelda's action story-driven gameplay over the platforming adventure gameplay of Mario, and vice versa. However, when it comes to the Game Awards 2017, there can only be one winner. In the end, I think Breath of the Wild will take the prize of Game of the Year. It'll be close, but I think more game journalists will side with their early favorite. Most big-name Western journalists have a slight bias towards Zelda over Mario. An example of this would be Game Informer, who gave Breath of the Wild a 10 out of 10 and Super Mario Odyssey a 9.75. To be fair, these were two separate reviewers, but I feel like in general, the big publications like Zelda more. Of course, I could be totally wrong, and Super Mario Odyssey could blow Zelda out of the water. Actually, I think Mario will win the fan vote, but it's the professional vote that really matters for this award. Either way, it's a win for Nintendo. As for my pick, it's too close for me to decide. I know I'm chickening out, but I will make a decision on our podcast either towards the end of December or early January. So be sure to check back for that reveal. If you like this video, check out my Zelda Save the Switch video for more Zelda talk. Also, consider donating to our Patreon account. For as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to our podcast and videos. A link to our account is in the description below. Make sure to subscribe to NintenCity for more NintenCity talk, reviews, and other content.
Goodbye, you good people. Woo!